families wanted us to look at these cases because they were absolutely positive that their loved one had not committed suicide. So looking at these cases from across the United States, this is not one general place, but across the United States, we, we realize that American detectives we are really failing. We're not paying attention to these kind of cases. We're not paying attention to suicides. We are not paying attention to accidental deaths. We are immediately jumping to conclusions. We've had several that are clearly homicides, but looking at the scene, they came up with a decision that this was a suicide, and the case is done. I have cases where, to me, I'm looking at it as like, what are you guys talking about? This does not fit into a suicide. There's no background. There's no risk factors. There's no motive for this particular person to take their life at this particular time. But you just accept it because that's what the scene looks like. And I kind of use a little bit of the staging philosophy because remember, when you go to a crime scene that's been staged, you're seeing what the offender wants you to see. So if you only look at the crime scene, you may be looking at a staged scene. So I used a lot of the staging material in the book on equivocal death because you always have to be prepared for that. And if you're going to go in for a suicide, you should at least prove that it's a suicide. You can't just go in and accept it, because when you go in and accept it, boom, then you have someone getting away with murder potentially.
Yeah, the police, as we know, and then just for the listener's standpoint, suicide's not a crime. And a lot of law enforcement agencies, when they are told by the coroner or the medical examiner of people that this is a apparent suicide, sometimes they totally stop and don't do anything. And to me, I think that's a mistake, but I'm not there in the position to control it. And I think that happens more often than not. But whether they're actually suicides or homicides doesn't usually come up until somebody like you takes a look at it. And I think without getting into particulars, if you're willing to mention, you told me about a case there. I guess it was Mississippi, where there was no doubt, but it's still not. It's still listed as undetermined now at this point. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah, there was a number. I mean, actually, the first case I looked at when we initiated the cold case unit was supposedly a murder suicide. But when I looked at it, I mean, within an hour of looking at it, it's like this is a double homicide. The forensics were all wrong for a suicide. It's like this doesn't fit. But someone came in, and because they had seen a murder suicide before, they kind of put two and two together and came out with 6, and closed it out as a murder suicide. But it was actually a double murder. And kind of interesting in this particular thing, it was the county sheriff were involved in part of it, and then the state police, the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation, was involved, but they weren't talking to each other. So when I got both reports, I was able to put them together and said, listen, Sheriff's Department, the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation has this piece that you're looking for. MBI, the sheriff has this piece you're looking for. We were able to identify the most likely suspect in that case simply by putting the cases together. And it's really, so it was that case, and it was another suicide that we looked at. That the police arrived, females on the beds, shot in the head. They looked at it and said, within 4 hours, suicide, done. There was no forensics. There was no toxicology. There was no autopsy. The husband comes in, immediately takes his wife's body, has it cremated. But they never even called the parents, who would have told them, hey, wait a minute, they've had problems in their marriage before. There's a lot of stuff that you don't know about the husband. But in that particular case, the husband was not even officially interviewed. I mean, it's just... And looking at the case, this was another case that there was absolutely no risk factors. There was nothing going on. We could completely eliminate suicide as a possibility. Just what was going on in their life. So what we did look at is this to me looked exactly like a staged crime scene, and it was a homicide staged to look like a suicide.